Okay, time now is 7:35 a.m. in the morning on July 27th. Um, so usually in circumstances like this, I would be gooey-eyed on my bed, speaking really slowly. But let's just say that I really want to do that right now because I wish I'm on my bed right now because I just had an amazing sleep of 2 hours and 50 minutes. I slept really well. Didn't wake up in the middle at all over the course of 2 hours and 50 minutes. So that's pretty good, which is pretty bad. Yeah, last night there's just so fucking much to do. I have completely underestimated the amount of work that I was asking myself to do. And it kind of fucking sucks. So much stuff, like watching the film Summer Palace. Obviously I can't do that now, so I'm screen recording the whole movie so that I would watch it later on the plane, even though I would probably just fall asleep. And then, yeah, and then I'll, things like, spendings, like writing down the amount of money I've spent, um, and like a bunch of miscellaneous stuff. Like clearing storage space for my phone and my camera. I barely have time, but then I'm like, well, I gotta sleep though. So I did go to bed, but like from 4:30 to 7:20. So that's that. And yeah, my luggage is still halfway packed. So I still gotta pack too. And yeah, I'm just so fucking tired, I'm just so tired. I look like shit. I don't know, there's no way out of this. There's just definitely no shot I'm finishing all those things yesterday. So, there's that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to film vlog on my camera too, so that's yeah, it'll be fine. 2 hours and 50 minutes. I survived the film set on 2.5 hours of sleep. This is not gonna be that tough. So, it's whatevs, man. It's whatevs.
如果乘客听到这2个名字，请运我们的。
现在我在哪儿拿？我是等着这个直接给我拿出来呢。
跟那边说的是等你跑出来还是？
没有说。
因为你有好安全嘅，偷嘢所有都 CCTV 嘅，你知道偷嘢之後。
说，咱就这么说，假设你明天要有出游行动，你可能就是咱就这么说，100块钱以内，北京市的这个范围，你可能会找一个网约车，你就跟他商量嘛，就是。
6层。
我看见了。健身呢？泳池喺邊啊？幫我睇下。
没有，就是你可以挑这两个牌子，一个叫紫光源，让你
我知道，但是那个冷气是每一个房间都这样子，但是我说
你体验体验，再看这个。但是现在给你这个房间呢，是没有电话的房间，你能接受吗？这就关键是没有电话。
没有电话，那我怎么去找钱呢？我要下去。
是啊，那就。
就是来看，他的厕所就小一点，这个无所谓。
你都翻看一眼，都
是
看
这个白的。 嗰啲我影咗相啦，暴雨雷電。
好的，我们现在一起来了解一下平谷区的实时天气状况。现在我们的前方记者王伟正在平谷区的静海湖镇，请他为我们介绍一下。
就係咁咯，啲路啊，
情况。王伟你好。
去唔到啊，爛晒。博物館咧，國家博物館全部圖書館啊，全部閂晒啊！阿媽陪我食嘢啦，因為我驚我啲 iPad 俾人攞。哦，成條橋冇咗。
去看看现场情况。另外呢，我们也了解到，北京这2个村庄啊，目前是信号是没有的，就手机是打不出来的，也打不进去。但是我们
向我们的村民，面向我们的游客，这个呢是处于开放的状态，我们随时有可能启动这里。然后目前情况来，我们实际情况来看的话，虽然说有2个红色预警，但是呢，我们目前这块还没有成灾的这个前兆。
溜达，你敢不敢？
溜達啦嚇！
敢不敢？
唔得，我嚟過。
才知道那是细说，就是胡说。
就是他，我。
一个是嘉兴关村，另外一个是叫朱金村。这条路呢，我们今天早上来的时候呢，他们5点钟已经开始抢修了。其实昨天晚上他们已经抢修到凌晨1点左右，今天早上5点又持续抢修。为什么呢？这条路可以说是一条生命。
Oh shit. Okay. Let's get some of this meat floss.
呢條街就係步行街嚟㗎。
Okay, day 5. The interesting thing is maybe Great Wall, Gubei Water Town is open, but maybe. So we don't know yet, I guess. The map says it's open, but my mom's friend says that it's not yet. Also, I'm meeting my friend later. We were supposed to meet like now, but he's busy, so we'll be meeting a bit later. And he wanted to meet me at 798, which I've been already. But due to time constraints, I think we're meeting near this hotel. So that's the plan. I am so hungry. I'm gonna go upstairs and get some food. It's like 11 a.m. now, so and my legs are hurting. Okay, I am now completely alone in Beijing, in the middle of freaking Beijing. Not really in the middle, more like the outskirts. Yeah, what the hell am I doing here? Revolving door, doesn't work, okay. How do I enter this thing? Huh? What? I'm so confused. Hold on.
吃腐竹吗？给你涮点腐竹。
不，别涮，现在别涮。
我是很喜欢这个，这个蒜。
常涮吗？
对呀，你们不喜欢吗？
我一般。
一般哦。最辛苦嘅時候，你去嘛，係咪？聽好辛苦嘅，今日就舒服。
嗯。
你自己切。繼續講先。會唔會？
嗯。
你應該唔知係咪得？
可以。
看这就是中国老祖先人家那种建的那种建筑，当时还都是那种人工的，没有先进的机械，都能建成那么雄伟。这么多年了，还都。
现在是红灯，禁止通行。
都唔知，冇人知。
Okay, right now is 1:23 a.m. in the morning. It's really late. I'm back in my room. So yeah, that was Beijing. I gotta process what I experienced in the last 7 days a little bit. Because it was kind of intense, but it was enjoyable for the most part, and I'm just happy that I got to travel for the first time since a few years ago, where I actually really enjoyed the traveling. And yeah, Cannes Film Festival was great, but it was not really for traveling. It was for films. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And I was gonna say I can't wait for Kyoto, but honestly, I'm so tired right now, I don't even want to think about Kyoto. So yeah, thanks for watching. Okay, time now is 1:27 a.m. in the morning on August 3rd, but I'm gonna just call it August 2nd. Yeah, I'm extremely tired. I'm gonna head to bed soon. I don't really know how to phrase this because I don't really know how to do this, because usually in the last few trips, you know, Seattle 2024, and also Cannes and Nice, a couple months ago, I would still include every single day in this vlog, series, and I would, in the Seattle vlogs, I would pretend that it's the day, and I will like spew out all my thoughts, but I kind of didn't do that in China, in Beijing, and for several good reasons. One is, for 99% of the time, I was with my mom and my brother, which means I can't be filming these kinds of videos. Second of all, I have a lot of thoughts and feelings that I want to express that would put me in a pretty nasty situation if I ever say this out loud in China, even though saying this out loud in Hong Kong is also dangerous. I guess it's less dangerous considering that I was at Beijing, the center of it all, which is fucking insane. Right here I have notes that I have taken on every single day, and I'm just gonna try to speed through them and just sort of call it, these are my thoughts on what happened in the last few days. And then after that, I'm gonna head to bed, and sleep, and not wake up until I do naturally. So let's start off with day 1, that is July 27th. We slept for 2 hours and 15 minutes. It was really bad. And yeah, I went to the airport, and on the plane I fell asleep, and then I watched half of the film Summer Palace, and then I arrived at Beijing. At the airport, my mom lost her backpack. Suddenly realized that she lost her backpack after crossing the customs. And thankfully it wasn't that long after we landed, and we weren't that far away from the gate, so my mom was able to run back to the plane to grab and find her backpack. But that was truly like a way to start off the trip. And then afterwards, so as it turns out, it was raining, and the interesting thing is, we all expected Beijing to be incredibly hot and dry, and we were wrong. It's incredibly hot and wet because we were at Beijing at the rainy season, or it wasn't even rainy season, it was just that 1 week we were dead on. Coincidentally, we arrived at Beijing the week it rained a lot, and usually it doesn't rain that much, and it was such crazy rain when we arrived. And my mom's friend's brother, who is a Beijinger, basically drove us from the airport to our hotel, which is just okay. It's like Beijing Marriott Northeast, it's called. And we put down our bags, and then we immediately headed out, and we went for dinner at this building called Beiping Lou, which is amazing. Easily the best dinner out of the entire trip, easily the best meal. Enjoyed every bit of it, aside from douzhi, which is this fermented bean stew, which is so disgusting I almost threw up when I smelled it. But every other food item is amazing, and I was so full. Like, Peking roast duck, the tofu, tofu skin wrapping pork strands. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it. That was great. Little like meat buns, and everything was great that meal. And then we returned to the hotel, and that was day 1. Pretty nice. I'll say that Beijing is surprisingly like Shenzhen, which is crazy, because when I went to Beijing, but before I went to Beijing, I was really expecting it to look and feel like a foreign country, because it's so up north. But no, I feel like a lot of big Chinese cities all have like a similar quality. Like the roads, they have similar width, the road signs look a similar way. And like even the weather, it was like kind of rainy and wet, and it was hot, but it wasn't like deserty hot. like I expected. So it was actually like fine, and the air quality wasn't that bad. It was terrible. Like a few decades ago, the air is like foggy and like dusty all the time. But now the air quality is actually like totally fine. So it was not that far from like what I'd seen in Shenzhen, and even the streets, the way there are a lot of like tall buildings alternating with older, uglier buildings, big red words. They're all kind of similar. I'll say this though, Beijing has a lot of very ugly like old buildings, way more than Shenzhen, in a very Soviet communist kind of way. Like you would see the same kind of old rundown buildings in like small Russian towns, or like Russian cities, not small towns. Also Beijing, there's this really common thing with big bold red words that say what they are very plainly. Like a hospital will have 2 gigantic red characters saying hospital. Anyways, day 1 didn't end off great because I had a terrible sleep because the room was hot, the AC was not strong, and I had a very bad sleep. Day 2, okay, so this is where it starts, where the intense run of places sort of begin. Day 2, we thought it was going to rain very heavily. According to the weather report, day 2, July 28th, it was going to be like the heaviest rainfall of the week. That was kind of true, but when we were outside, there were barely any rain. So early in the morning, we arrived at Yiheyuan, which is Summer Palace. Okay, we were supposed to leave the apartment earlier at like 8:30 or like 8 a.m. so that we would arrive at like 8:30. We didn't. We left at 9 because we decided, or my mom decided to switch rooms. So we went from the 12th floor to the 18th floor. It was nicer, spacier, and the AC was better. Great choice. And we also had breakfast at the hotel, 2nd floor, which is not bad. Had some noodles. So okay, Summer Palace. I think out of all the places I've visited in Beijing this trip, Summer Palace is my favorite and the one that is hardest to forget. Mostly because it's like the first spot, and the fact that it's my first day in Beijing and I'm already plummeted in literally one of the biggest, fanciest, most beautiful parks ever is just crazy to me. And it was so rainy and it was kind of foggy and misty, and it kind of had that mysterious quality, like I'm spirited away or something. It was very overwhelming, but it was beautiful. Very early on it was very beautiful, and then later as it got along, there were so many people and it started getting really exhausting. And I was like, wow. First of all, I spent maybe 4.5 hours in Summer Palace as opposed to 3, which I planned. I was there from, I think, 10 to 1:30 p.m. No, that's 3.5 hours. Second of all, as we were leaving the Summer Palace, we saw everyone leaving, and it was like, wow, why is everyone leaving? For lunch? And then as it turns out, it's because the park is shutting down because of a potential heavy rainfall, which never really happened until late at night. And then I checked Yuanmingyuan, which is literally right beside us, Old Summer Palace. The whole place has been shut down since the beginning of day. So we unfortunately had to not go to that place. We just can't. And then also on that day, we decided to not go to Dongyue Temple and instead go to 798 Art District. So we had a very nice lunch, more Beijing food, and then we just went to one of the entrances to the Old Summer Palace. We just took a look and then we left. To be honest though, I feel like Summer Palace is so freaking ginormous that 3 hours is not enough. People on TripAdvisor and Reddit, they're like, yeah, 3 hours is enough, but like it's 3 hours if you're a casual traveler, but like super casual. But if you want to truly explore the park, and I'm not saying explore every single facet, I'm just saying like like explore the park adequately. It's like a whole day. It's fucking huge. And Old Summer Palace is even bigger, and I just think it's impossible to see these two parks back to back in the same day. Even though they're literally beside each other. It's just impossible. But yeah, 798 Art Zone. We took a whole hour of MTR, of metro, to that place, and I kept falling asleep on that metro. And we went there, and it was okay. My mom has been there like 2 decades ago, but it used to be much more niche, because it's like a bunch of factories, bunch of factories, sort of renovated into artsy places. So it's like kind of rustic and broken and smoky and dusty, but also very nice and contemporary. But now it's also very commercialized, so you get a lot of like cafes and just like little stores in there. It's nice, nothing too crazy. And then we called a cab home, and we called a cab even more than taking the metro throughout the entire trip. So yeah, that's day 2. It's starting to get a little concerning because the raining gets pretty heavy at night. And now we transition to day 3, and the rain has gotten so bad that the Palace Museum was shut off on day 3. Was shut down, and coincidentally, we have tickets for the Palace Museum on day 3. And we were supposed to wake up super early. Like, I woke up at like 6:30, because we had to wake up at 6:30 so that at 7:30 we could be picked up, and then at 8:15 we would arrive at the Palace Museum, and then we're gonna have this huge group tour, guided tour around the Forbidden City. Literally the most important place in Beijing. Also one of the most important traveling locations in East Asia, period. So that's a very important place. And so at 6:30-ish I woke up, and then my mom's like, just go back to sleep. And I was like, fuck. It kind of felt like one of those moments back in secondary school when I would wake up at 6:30 for school, and then my mom would be like, you don't have to wake up. And I look outside and it's nothing but like rain, and the whole sky is white. That's basically what happened. But it wasn't a relief. This time I was like, oh, damn it, I knew it. And then I just went back to sleep. So no Forbidden City. I did not go to the Forbidden City. Literally the most anticipated place for me to go. I did not go. And instead, the first half of the day, I just stayed in the hotel. I low-key thought I would just stay in the hotel the whole day, but like halfway through the day, the rain stopped, and suddenly it was sunny and beautiful again. So we went across the street for a quick lunch, and then my mom's friend's brother came to pick us up and drove us to this very far away place called Shougangyuan, which is a renovated theme park, a theme park built from renovated steel factories and steel refineries, and he's trying to bring us there to compensate for the loss that we can't go to the Forbidden City. The interesting thing is this place is very beautiful, it's very big, and also there's barely any people there, mainly because I think it's not finished construction yet. Like, there were a lot of places where there would be construction workers working, but somehow there are restaurants, and there are also people eating in those restaurants, so it's like semi-touristy, but like no one's there. I also think it's because it just had like, Beijing just had like a huge rain. Also, it was like such a huge deal for Beijing. People were saying like, oh, it's like one of the craziest rains in Beijing history, like once in 100 years, but they were just being dramatic. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't as bad as the rainstorm, like maybe 15 years ago, that killed a lot of people. This one killed like 30 people, but last one killed like a lot of people. Also, I feel like Beijing just cannot handle rain as much as Hong Kong does. But anyways, we arrived at Shougangyuan, and then since we had lunch around 2 p.m., but apparently Beijing people like eating dinner early, like 5 p.m. So at 5 p.m. we had dinner, but I didn't have a lot of appetite. We had Beijing style hot pot, the copper pot, and with lamb, and it was kind of mediocre. It was kind of flavorless, not really great. And then we went back home, and somebody folded my pajamas. So they were folded. It was fine. I usually hate it when people touch my clothes, but I'm like, you know what? I don't care anymore, and also the person's hands are probably clean. So yeah, I mean, I was really disappointed with not being able to go to the Forbidden Palace, Forbidden City, but a small part of me wanted the whole trip to be completely ruined, not gonna lie. The destructive part of me wanted to see this trip completely ruined. I was like, well, might as well ruin the whole trip, please. But then another part of me, I guess the main part of me, was like, you know what, I'm still excited for these locations. I'm still gonna try. But there's that. Okay, so days 4, 5, 6, 7, I'm gonna talk about them tomorrow. But day 4 is really intense. Day 5 is chill because we couldn't get to the Great Wall. Day 6 was really intense. Day 7, which is today, nothing happened. Just went to the airport, came back home. What I can talk about now is stuff that are not really related to the Beijing trip, but kind of adjacent to it, of course. Life shit. One is on day 4, July 30th, I talked a lot with Jiayun, and then subsequently on the 31st, on August 1st, today, I talked more and more to Jiayun. I also met Frank, which is fucking insane. One of the craziest plot twists of the entire trip is meeting Frank, and it's so crazy because I've never done this before, and that is meeting a USC student not only outside of LA, but outside of the fucking continent. I met Frank, and he's just standing there, and I haven't seen him in 2 years. And I mean, yeah, I go to foreign cities, like Hong Kong and LA are places like Hong Kong's my home, LA is my battlefield. Every other city I visit as a traveler, as a tourist. But like to visit a friend in a foreign city just feels so next level to me. My mom called a cab for me. And that's it, I'm all alone, and I'm in this middle of nowhere, not a tourist spot. I'm in this mall place in the outskirts of Beijing to meet a friend. As if, you know, if this is Hong Kong, it's like meeting Natalie and Sha Tin. Like, it's the equivalent of that. But like that guy's Natalie, of course, but like it's just so ridiculous, and I actually did it, and he's just there, and he looks like Frank, and he took me to this Taiwanese restaurant, and he paid for my lunch, of course. Thank him, bless him, and I didn't eat much, and then we just talked, mostly in English. I mean, yes, all in English, but. And I just talked about like USC and Yao and Cha and this Candy or movie. He knows Jing Chen, he knows Yungu or Gu Yun, he knows he doesn't know about Candy or movie, but he knows the DP. And I talked about like how terrible that set is, and he laughed. Apparently he knows the DP, Luo Pan, and it's so crazy because Candy or movie happened in October 2024, and then in November 2024, Frank met Luo Pan again, and Luo Pan kind of complained about how much he doesn't like living in LA, so it kind of like coincides. And it's so crazy that even though I've never seen Frank and Jing Chen and Gu Yun in the same room, but we all just kind of know each other, it's so crazy. So anyways, there's that. Not gonna talk too much. Kind of want to talk about Jiayun a little bit. Also, okay, side note, day 5, the day of the Great Wall, I saw that Crystal, if you remember her, this Chinese woman in her probably 30s now, with orange mushroom hair, a good friend of Leslie's, dare I say, a mother figure. She's in Beijing. Well, she's a Beijinger, so that makes sense. But she's also taking his friend around, and his friend being Amaris, the Korean girl that Leslie used to hang out with. Maybe they still do. I don't know. And I responded to her Instagram story. I was like, "Hey, I'm in Beijing too," and she's like, "What?" I like that no one really knows that I'm in Beijing because I don't overtly talk about it on Instagram, and that's important because I can't. For my safety. But at some point we talked a lot about Beijing and traveling and tour food, and Crystal was like, "Hey, you should do you want to join us at night to find something to drink at Shisha, which is a place that I unfortunately had to miss." I wanted to join them, but then A, it's weird because I don't know them that much as I do with Frank. B, I didn't have time anyways. But that's not. Okay, Jiayun. Really interesting because at that point I haven't spoken to Jiayun in 6 days, which isn't really that much. But I also wasn't that anxious about not speaking to her because I know we're on really good terms. Jiayun suddenly DM'd me on Instagram saying, "I'm crashing out. I just got the Rush footage," and I'm like, "What happened?" So Jiayun explained that so she got some footage back from her short film Rush, and in the long take, the boom was in frame, and the only way to fix it was to crop in. And now she's mad because now the resolution's dropped and it looks like shit, and now she's upset about the vignetting. And I was like, well, of course it's gonna have vignetting if you're shooting on an LF. And then she's like, "Oh, the color's not right, the PD's not right, blah blah blah." And that kind of spawned a whole 4-day long conversation where we talk about literally everything from Rush to my films to Beijing to her upbringing to music and just a lot, really. Thoughts and feelings. At some point I was like, you know what, you can just add me on WeChat. I use a lot of WeChat in the last few days, mainly because I couldn't use anything else. I mean, I could access Instagram and YouTube with my mobile data, surprisingly. But WeChat is the place I communicate with my mom, and also the place where I literally find the opening hours of anything. But I'm like, well, I have a WeChat now, might as well ask Jiayun to add me. So literally my WeChat right now is just one group chat with my mom and my brother, and another with Jiayun. And Jiayun's literally called Jiayun. She's using her real name. And I even saw her profile, she has other posts, and it's all written in Chinese, and it's about Rush. And it's crazy that she's actually fluent in Chinese, in Mandarin. What? My throat's dry. Okay. Anyways, I guess the main point is I really, really look forward to seeing Jiayun in Hong Kong. I don't know how possible it is, but if it happens, this summer will be the summer of all times. But I always tell myself never to celebrate too early because life is always disappointing. And on July 30th, Jiayun told me that she might be going to Bangkok instead of Hong Kong because she applied for the Hong Kong pass, but it was not processed yet. And so I was a little bit bummed out by it. I was like, okay, well, damn. On the next day, on July 31st, Jiayun told me, you know what? I'm probs going to Hong Kong on the 13th, the day before I return to LA, just like a layover thing. And I was excited for a moment until I remembered I'm not even here on the 13th. I'm in Kyoto. Suddenly, I don't want to go to Japan. I just want to be here with Jiayun. And then, I guess earlier today, just now, we were still discussing. And Jiayun's not a very decisive girl. And that's the thing with her. She like changes her mind and stuff. She's like, oh, you know what? Oh, so when she said that, no, when she said she's going to Bangkok instead, I was like, man, come to Hong Kong. We have great food. I mean, Thailand has great food too. And also, I was like, you know, sometimes I walk past a restaurant, or like sometimes I'm walking around in Hong Kong, and I'm like, ooh, I bet she'll like that dessert place. And Jiayun was like, oh, that's so sweet. And I wanted to like convince her to come to Hong Kong, but then I realized the thing I just said is enough of a convincement. It's enough of a convention. It's enough of a plea, you know. So whether Jiayun decides to come or not is up to her now. I've convinced her. I have specific places in mind I want to bring her to, and you know, it's, you know, there's care and there's thought put into it. So yesterday Jiayun asked me, what days are you going to be at Hong Kong? And I thought, ooh, if she's asking me that, maybe Jiayun's thinking of timing her arrival in Hong Kong. Like, she's gonna come to Hong Kong just because I'm here. Which is like, how? We're not even that close. I mean, we are somewhat close because we talk a lot, but, you know. And then earlier today, Jiayun's like discussing again. Jiayun's like, I think I'm gonna come to Hong Kong on the 18th. Because I'm thinking of going back to LA on the 19th, and then I'm gonna come to Hong Kong on the 18th. And I'm like, ooh, that's great. I'm here. Beautiful. Like right before I leave Hong Kong for the final time, I see Jiayun. And then Jiayun's like, actually, how do you get to LA? And I'm like, well, I have a layover in Taipei. And then Jiayun's like, okay, well, maybe I'll go to Taipei then. And I'm like, And Jiayun starts talking to me in Chinese. And so I started responding to her completely in Chinese. But she writes in simplified, I write in traditional. But she still understands me. Which is crazy. I don't think I've ever done that with anyone else that much. But yeah. And then a little bit later, she's like, oh, actually, maybe I should head to Japan instead. And at first, she's like, oh, convince me. Like, where are you going to take me in Hong Kong? Like, is it worth it? You know, and she said that in Chinese. And then for a moment, I was just going to say, well, I don't know. It's up to you. Where do you want to go? But then I realized I should be decisive because Jiayun's literally asking me to convince her to come. So I started like telling her like, oh, well, there are a lot of good places to eat. Like there's like historical places. Hey, you know, Chungking Mansion. Literally where Chungking Express took place. And also like at some point we mentioned Fallen Angels today because I made her watch my short film The World Is Not Enough, and a couple shots take place in that, you know, Saiwan Ho MTR station, and it's, you know, Fallen Angels reference. And Jiayun's like, wait a second, is that Fallen Angels? And I'm like, yeah. So I told her how Fallen Angels, that scene literally takes place downstairs of my apartment, and she's like, no way, well, I guess I gotta be there. Yeah. And then a little bit earlier, she's like, you know what, it's decided, I'm coming to Hong Kong. So, please. But then I don't know. She's so indecisive, so I don't know yet. But I'm just glad that it's more likely now. But yeah, we just talked a lot, and like we just talked so much over the last few hours, and also over the last few days, and it's crazy how much she shares with me. I feel like we're really close, but at the same time, it's like I don't know if she does this to literally every guy ever, because then she would also mention like, oh yeah, I'm also like texting this other guy, and I'm also calling this other guy, and I don't know, but again, like, to be fair, we haven't really been with each other like physically together in the same space that much, but it seems like we have so much in common. Like, she actually speaks Shanghainese, albeit not that fluent. She has a sibling, younger sibling, not younger sibling. Silly comparison, by the way. It's not that deep, but you know, we just click with each other so well sometimes. We talk about films and our creative processes, and even she's so talented, by the way. It's scary. Apparently, some random person hit her up and gave her script, gave her their own script, saying, hey, can you direct my script? Because you seem like a really good director. Because I saw you in like Rush BTS photos, which is crazy. And apparently she also spoke to Sean Baker like last year. Like, she's so, I don't know about talent. I'm not the one to judge, but she is going places way more than I am, honestly. And she's only 20. So, yeah, but we just click really well, and we just talk to each other really well. Again, I don't know if it's because she does this to every person ever, but the more she reveals about her personal life to me, the more I want to reveal my personal life to her, and it just becomes this, like, you know, we're just really friendly with each other. And again, every time I mention that I have Blu-rays, she's like, oh, well, I gotta come to your place and steal those DVDs, you know. It's like, damn. Yeah, I gotta go to sleep now. I'm tired as fuck. And I have 7% battery, so